Okay, well, we're going to try to do this while I have the stove top clean. Sometimes I do this cooking bit and the whole thing's just grungy and all. That's because I live by myself. It's out here so far out in the middle of nowhere that even reasonable people don't want to come and visit. They're afraid to come out this far and find out I'm not here, which is a good thing sometimes. So anyway, I was been talking about cast iron cooking and pans and stuff like that. This is the best way to cook anything. I mean, you can cook anything in a cast iron pan, that's for sure. That's for dang sure. And what I was going to show you was the way to keep one clean. See, the cool thing about a cast iron pan, I've had this pan for, I bet, going on 30 years. If you went to the, like they sell them at a hardware store, they have a big cast iron frying pan selection. You pay about $30, $40 for this pan right now. The cast iron being porous, what it happens is as you cook on this over and over, and as you season things in this over and over, the seasoning builds up inside the pores of this pan. So the more you cook on it, the better the stuff tastes. And people make a big mistake when they clean these things. They put them in the washer or dishwasher, or they scrub them in the sink with soap and water. But this is the way that you're supposed to keep your cast iron pan clean and seasoned. Now I've had this pan, which is one I've cooked off of a whole lot. I've had this for a long time too. I don't know if I've had it as long as this pan, but this is the mainstay pan, I'll tell you. And it is dirty. You see that there's some buildup in it. There's the dog bowl down there and drop scrap food down there. The dogs just love it, you know. You can see there's cracklings, and it's just a little bit of oil. So this is going to be the good example pan. Whoa! I made a mistake. This is the pan that I generally cook off of. This pan, me and my buddy were driving down the highway about a month ago, and I went by this thing. I said, "Man, was that a cast iron frying pan?" He said, "I think so." And so we turned around and went back, and this is. I mean, it was like brand new except rusted. Had something in it, but we cleaned. I took a wire brush, cleaned it out, and I boiled it and boiled it and boiled it. And that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to boil this pan and make it clean. And I'm going to put some water in it right now. Right there's some water. I still ain't real comfortable with eating out of this pan because right down the street where I got it from was a scrap yard, and they crunch cars and old trucks and stuff, put them on flatbeds and haul them to the junkyard, the big scrap yard, and this had some what looked like motor oil in it or something. So I can still see I see some kind of, because this thing hasn't been exactly seasoned, but it can stand to be boiled out, and eventually whatever's in there will boil out. I know that don't sound too appealing, but when you're talking about a pan that actually is going to cost you $20, $30 in a store, it's actually worth salvaging. And heck, if the old stuff, whatever's in it, doesn't boil out, you can always paint some kind of a farm scene in it and give it as a gift. I'm telling you. Now, the thing about the seasoning is that as you cook with garlic pepper, salt and pepper, soy sauce, Tabasco sauce, any kind of seasoning, it all accumulates inside this pan, and this pan stores it. It's like the first computer ever. And I'm just telling you, you can take one of these pans, you gotta go somewhere, go camp. It just happens to be 28 degrees here in Central Florida. Got the house all bundled up and the heat. Seems like just when the temperature gets just right, the dogs find some reason that they got to go out and bark. And I think we're like 7 miles from the nearest traffic light. So there ain't nothing here to bark at. Nobody comes out here. That's why I'm so bored enough that I can sit here and take the time to show you how this pan is going to boil up and clean itself. It's just like a self-cleaning oven, and it's like I said a little while ago, this is like the first computer ever made. It's the cast iron skillet. No joke. You try them out and you'll see what I mean. And we are starting to see some slight indication that it's fixing to boil. And I like to, when I clean a pan, I like to bring it right out to a real good hard boil. So the little bubbles are just starting. And the interesting thing that this is the scientific part about all this, is that you can see the little porous, what I'm talking about as being a porous product, by the little bubbles that come out. You know, they're coming out of inside of the pores. I might have just made that up, I don't know. But it sounded pretty good, I'm sure you'll admit on that. Anyway, we need to do something to fill up the amount of time. I'm not one of those people that know how to do that slip and slide biz with the camera, but it is starting to boil. And it's fixing to boil up, and I'm going to do a real like a real effects maneuver, and I'm going to pick up the camera and I'm going to kind of move it over there so that you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, there you go. See that? It's just starting. You can see the water is kind of circulating around. Yeah, and that I have to tell you, those bubbles floating around on top are signs that this pan is still not clean. Now, this is the pan that we found on the side of the highway, and you know, it may or may not come out. And this is the pan that I've been using. I would say that this pan's been here almost as long as we have, and that was in 1976. So that's the sustaining pan, and this was actually a travel pan when I was a long haul trucker. This pan has actually been across the country several times, and now look, you can see the bubbles forming up down in there, can't you? I think, I don't know, is this right? Probably steaming up this is probably the last this lens or whatever, but you can see that water is boiling, and that's what I mean is how you have to clean this pan. You have to have that pan, get a bubble on it, get a boil, a hard boil, and anytime you use it, anytime you use a cast iron pan, this is the only way that you have to clean it. You just fill it up with water, boil it, let the water cool, dump the water, take a paper towel or a cloth or something and just wipe out the inside of it, and don't put any soap ever in your whole life in this thing, and I guarantee you that by the time you've used this several times, you can find that you'll save money on spices, because the seasoning is in this pan. It's an amazing item, and if you don't own one, I'm telling you, they ought to write an article about you. Feel sorry. There you go. It is boiling, and that bubbling there is signs of this pan may not have hope. I just want to give you, assurance that we're not that desperate for a cast iron pan that if it's filled up with some kind of crap it ain't going to clean out of it, that we're going to use it anyway. Yeah, I don't want any of my friends coming over here going, "You're not going to use that pan, are you?" No, we ain't. Unless it cleans up right. So, anyway, that is how you keep a cast iron pan clean and seasoned. I guess that's about it.